Perfect fit closets. How to use our garage cabinetry line. We'll be talking about our WMOD, which is called a wall cabinet, and WMOD wall cabinet stretchable, formerly single. The system is a little bit different than the closet wall cabinet component, and let's show you how. In our illustration, we have base cabinetry or stackable cabinetry at the very top. We have some tall cabinetry or base cabinetry at the very bottom. We've got the OmniTrack, and right here we have our wall cabinet here. What's nice about this design is that a worker can actually use the actual countertop, work on his or her tools, anything in the garage, and now they have cleared this section because their head isn't hitting the very top of this cabinetry line, and this is a great way for the end user can utilize their garage cabinetry, especially if they are hard at work, woodworking, and such. So let's create something very similar to this. We have previous videos in our video training section here regarding our different modules, the tall module, which is the tall cabinet, as well as the S module, which is our S cabinet, base cabinet line. Now let's talk about our wall module section here. In our local browser, at the very bottom here, we've got our closet section, and then we also have our garage sections. As noted, if you use the garage cabinet line, you cannot use the closet items. If you use the closet module line, you cannot use the garage cabinets. Keep the catalogs consistent by keeping each line in the respective cabinetry lines. I'm going to go ahead and create a long wall. Let's create this 200 inches wide, and we'll hit escape, and we'll double click the placement zone, and we've got my elevation. So let's create something very simple here, something that's very, very close to something to this effect. Let's work from the center outwards. We're going to double click our categories and double click our garage section here and double click cabinets. Let's grab a tall cabinet, which I've described in a previous video. I see my magnet, drop it in, go to my farthest working left. We're going to right click, and let's go ahead and click on OK. We'll keep it 95.5. 6-inch leg, 36 inches wide. We'll click on OK. We just really want to get to the wall module section here. I've dropped it in, and let's go ahead and change the height for my walls, and let's make this one to be 130 inches wall height. We'll click on OK, and there is my module there. Let's go ahead and create a base cabinet. We'll drag and drop. I see my magnet, drop it in, and let's create 3 of them, 36 and a 16th. We'll keep it at default, 24 inches wide, 6-inch leg. We'll click on OK, and we're going to just drop that in, and let's center this. Now we'll click up and down, and 6 inches from the very bottom, and hit enter. Let's grab another one, drag it in, drop, and I'll do the exact same thing. Keep it all standard, and as noted, just like in my previous videos, you cannot share the panels. They're all on their own. Oh, we want this to be 6 inches high, up and down, 6 inches, drag. And now we can drag this into place and combine them together. There is really no rhyme or method. You can work from center, or you can work from left to right, however you'd like to position it. And up and down, and we'll add the legs in there afterwards, 6 inches from the very bottom, and drag it in. We'll grab our tall cabinet, and we'll do the exact same thing on the left-hand side to the right-hand side to make them symmetrical. Right click, we'll click on OK, keep it all 95.5, keep it all default. And let's go back to our S mods and ensure that the legs are in place. Go to variables, and we want the 6-inch leg. Let's click on apply. OK, we got our legs, and let's go back to do the other base cabinetry line, add the legs. Variable, there's no legs in place. We're going to click on apply. And one more time. So these are all 24 inches deep. Panels are not shared. Left click our variables. We're going to left click our legs. Click on apply and OK. I've got my legs in place. So now let's go ahead and create some wall cabinets here. So now they're going to be a little recessed. So we're going to be making this section here and mimicking the bottom. If we take a look at our properties on our wall module upper cabinet section here, we're going to drag it into our elevation. Once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse. Let's right click the illustration and we can see the properties. We have heights. We can certainly change the height however we wish. Let's keep it to 22 and 7/16. Opening depth, we have presets of 12 and 14. Those are the only depths that this is able to carry. Let's keep it at 14 inches. We've got a fairly deep cabinetry line at 24 inches, so 14 will suffice. And opening width, we'll keep it at 24 because the existing module here is 24 inches. We have 22 and a half inches inside opening and 24 inches from outside to outside opening. These measurements for garage cabinetry will always account for outside to outside as opposed to inside opening to inside opening. So please make a note of that. We'll click on OK. And we'll position it like so. If we want to do up and down, we'll just take the measure from the ceiling to the existing module, and this is 28 and a half inches from the ceiling. Well, let's right click the wall module. Let's left click up and down. And in my placement zone here, I want this to be from the top ceiling. We're going to delete this section and type in 28.5 because we want this 28 and a half inches from the ceiling. And now they're all uniform and symmetrical. Let's left click the wall mod upper cabinetry as well. These upper cabinetry does not use the wall rail system like in closets. The installer will build this all on the ground on its own, using the conformance screws and the dowels to make this structurally sound. And then the installer would then drill using the back panel and find the wooden studs and hang it just like kitchen cabinetry. We'll keep the opening depth at 14 inches, keep it at the 22-inch marker. 22 and 7/16, 14 inches deep, 24 inches wide. We'll click on OK, and we're going to attach it to the left section here. And now we're going to right click up and down, and we want the top to be 28 and a half inches, 28.5 on the keyboard, hit enter, and it's in place here. Now we'll use the upper cabinetry stretchable. So this is when I want to resize or I want to put a module with a very tiny opening. If I drag the upper cabinetry line, it might have a collision in here. If I did want to use that, I'll have to drag it and position it somewhere else and position it into place. But let's see if we can use the upper cabinet stretchable. I'm going to drag and drop the upper cabinetry stretchable. I see my magnet in this section here. I'm going to go to my farthest working left and let go of my mouse. This will be the exact same dialog box. We want this to be 22 and 7/16. We want it to be 14 inches deep. We'll click on OK. And it didn't attach it, it moved it to the right. So I'm going to try to drag this over here. If I want to drag this through items, I'm going to hit the control button on my keyboard, which I'm doing now, which you can't see, but I'm holding the control button on my keyboard. I'm not doing anything with my mouse. I'm not pressing anything. I'm just going to drag it over now, moving it ever so slightly to the left and let go of my mouse and just try to attach it like so. I've left click once and now I can move this mouse over. We're going to left click. And now we're going to right click. We're going to drag this over, just making sure that we're fully attached to the left side. Now we're going to right click up and down. We're going to use the placement of 28.5. And now we're going to right click and resize width. And I'm going to resize width as far as possible. And now I can certainly check the measurements to see if I'm all 22 and a half, and which I am. If we take a look at our perspective view, we can certainly take a look at our current structural component. And we see here, we have our tall cabinetry line at the very bottom. We've got our base cabinetry with all our 6-inch legs. And now we have our upper cabinetry. And again, we're always assembling all the parts and components off the wall on the ground and slowly inserting it just like kitchen cabinetry line. And to further create our design. To this, we'll add base cabinetry at the very top, and again, using the backs as the backing toward the back wall. So this is a fantastic way to start off your garage cabinetry line. All the verticals are going to be 3/4 inches, and all the tops and bottoms, they're now called decks. So the top deck and the bottom deck will always be 1 inch for the structural stability for the conformance screws. If you have any questions regarding our WMOD wall cabinet line or WMOD wall cabinet stretchable line, please do connect with us at support@perfectfitcanada.com.